This is what I was afraid of, guys. This is it. It's third time is the charm. And it was. Let's discuss it. Hello everyone, my name is Jo and I review all of your favorite TV shows on this channel, or at least most of them, or at least the ones I care about. The way that my intro keeps changing with every video. A lot of things I was correct about in my predictions, a lot of things I was not correct about, but the thing I'm most impressed with is Locke, because I was expecting him to die, and I even said in one of my intro analysis, I think, or one of my previous reviews, that it would be very obvious because the name of the actor who plays Locke is paired with that image in the intro, so it's obvious that we're going to theorize that he will die and be the body in the water, and he wasn't in the end. So I enjoy that. I enjoy that subversion of our expectations. In that one aspect, I enjoyed it. Especially because we can't even say that we didn't see dead Locke in the water, because we did. As usual, I will discuss all the events of the White Lotus in this finale episode, starting with the weird family, moving on to the three friends, then the age gap couple. Oh my god! The dead age gap couple. Then Belinda, the lovebirds, and then additional stuff. I have a lot of comments. I will be making a little point about the deaths in this season and why I think Locke didn't die. And yeah, let's just get on it. The weird family. We start the episode seeing Piper wake up in a monastery, kind of like with an uneasy feeling, and we even have the monk like talking about it. Sometimes you wake up a little anxious. And why did Piper wake up with a little uneasy feeling? Well, because as she admits it at breakfast, she's a spoiled little brat. Well, not a brat, but a spoiled person. And she literally says it. I don't think that I can eat bland food for a year. I don't think that I can live without air conditioning for a year. And she has the audacity to cry because she feels bad about the poor people in the world. And then her mother, legend. That actress is a legend. Then her mother, the way her mother finds to comfort Piper is, oh dear, don't you think that the best way to honor the poor people of the world is to enjoy our wealth? When that happened, I couldn't wait to see their faces when they found out they were going to be poor. I couldn't wait. And I mean, they're not going to be poor. And I will talk about this at the end of the Weird Family review. They're not going to be poor. Let's face it. And I'll discuss it. But yeah, on the way home from the monastery, Piper basically shuts Locke down and is like, yeah, no, you and the monastery is not gonna happen. And Locke is just a little bit lost during this episode, and well, we'll get there. The vibes between Locke and Saxon are a bit off for good reason, and I think it's safe for us to say that Locke didn't actually take advantage of Saxon. It was just a weird brotherly love thing. And Saxon says it like really clearly, you shouldn't worship me that way. And then we get this really cool like thing from Locke where it's like, I'm a pleaser, like I'm a people pleaser in a family of narcissists. And the only thing you care about is sex. How the hell am I supposed to please you? Like that was so truthful. It truly took me back. Like, thank you, Locke. We appreciate your candor, but damn, you truly are in a family of narcissists. And even Piper, because the whole reason they went to Thailand was because Piper wanted to see this monastery. And now she's not even staying in it. And she apologized to the family for taking them there. But I mean, she did them a favor because if they were in the US, Tim would already be in jail. And then Saxon tells Locke, you gotta be your own man. You gotta make your own shakes. And he will. He will. But before that, we see Saxon on the beach, and he's like talking to Chelsea, and he's even reading that book to try to get like in her pants. The lengths that this man will go to seduce a woman are insane. But then Rick appears, Chelsea runs to his arms, and Saxon kind of gets this like wake up call, like another one, one more wake up call that he is not going to pick up. He's not, because immediately after Chelsea runs to Rick's arms, Saxon is turning to Chloe. I cannot wait to see them pour. I mean, if I had to say which characters I would want to see in a future season, actually there's only 2 characters, and one of them is Saxon, because I don't know, I would love to see him as an employee in a White Lotus. I would love to see that. I would love to see him not only working as an employee there, which is not going to happen, I will explain it, but also I want to see him change. Like, I want to see one of these disgusting men characters, disgusting, like, predators that exist in the real world. I want to see one of them change. I want to see the representation that change for these men is possible, that they can get these wake-up calls, realize they are empty, hollow, realize they are predators, and just freaking change. And hopefully becoming poor will do it for Saxon, which he will not become poor. I will address it. But yeah, then the dad asks Locke the thing about how would you feel about being poor? Would you be able to live, dirt poor? Which they will not be. I will explain it. And Locke is the first person to say yes. So when dad decides to, I was wrong, guys. Not suicidal smoothies. Suicidal pina coladas. When dad decides to finally go for the seeds and do the suicidal pina coladas, he excludes Locke, because apparently Locke can live poor. Locke can apparently live poor, so he doesn't drink a pina colada. And then, in the end, none of them do. And I'm so happy they didn't. And I said this before, there is absolutely zero way we're going to see them dying, because we already saw it. We already saw Dad shooting himself, shooting his wife, and shooting Saxon. How many times? How many times did we see it? So there was absolutely zero chance that they were going to die, because we've already seen it. I wasn't sure about Saxon, but the wife, like Mom, Piper, and Dad, I was pretty sure they were going to survive. It makes sense. Like, if we already saw their deaths, if we already had, like, the catharsis for it, it makes sense that they wouldn't die this time. But then, and this is what I was saying, like, that it would just be left there and Locke would drink it like that. It wasn't exactly like that, but kinda, because there's, like, a lot of the seeds, it seems, are stuck at the bottom of the blender, and in the morning, baby boy Locke decides to be a man, to do his own shake with the rest of the pina colada. And I mean, clearly Dad didn't know enough about what he was doing to know how much he would need, like, to know about quantities. But Locke almost went. Like, he almost went. He went to a point where we actually saw, I mean, what a waste of a sequence, actually. The drowning in the water, the dead in the water sequence. What a waste. Even, it would be, like, interesting if it was a cliffhanger and then we would have to wait for the next episode. But no, we found out the same episode that baby boy woke up and was alive. What a waste of a sequence. So the actual body was probably just one of the guards. In the end, they all get in the boat, they get their phones before they are able to look at their texts and news stuff. Dad tells them, gives his little speech, things are about to change. And then they go in their phones and they give him that strange ass look. All the while, Tim, is literally looking at the water, thinking about the death metaphor from the monk. And I know exactly what he's thinking. He's thinking, at the end of the day, if it ever gets to that point, I at least have death. I at least can die and be done with all of this. But so far, I can handle it. That's what I feel like he's thinking about. But I mean, this is what I've been saying, like, this entire season is, even if they lose all their money, even if they lose their house, even if Tim goes to prison, they are not going to be poor, because the mother is probably from a rich family. They probably have a lot of rich contacts. Saxon is going to get a cushy job with some other friend, with someone else. This is why he would never be working at a White Lotus. He would never be working at a gas station or something like that, because they have connections, they have friends, they have people who will help them, because this is what happens to rich people. I would not be surprised if in the next season we see Saxon back at a White Lotus because he just married into a rich family, and that's what saved their family or something like that. And this is why it makes sense that Locke didn't die, and I will touch on that theory like later on. Even if they lose everything, they're still rich. They are still swimming in an ocean of rich, well-connected people. They still belong to the country club, so they will have help, either from mom's family, from their friends, from their business connections. They will have help. They won't fall into poverty. Like, Tim was thinking that because he's stressing out. He's like afraid of the future. He's afraid of losing everything, because to him, losing his business, losing his house, going to jail means that they're going to be dirt poor, which they are not. They are not going to be dirt poor. There's absolutely no way they are going to be dirt poor. They will be just fine. And I would not be surprised if we see one of them in the next season, and I'm betting it's Locke. Locke, no, Saxon. I'm betting it's Saxon. Then the three friends, aka the most disappointing cluster of the season for me, and this is my pet peeve, is the way they ended it. Because they just make up, they tell each other that they love each other and admire each other, and the whole time it seems so fake. It seems so goddamn fake. No, they don't love each other, because if Lori truly trusted them and truly cared about them like she's saying she does, she would have told them about last night. She would have told them about the guy who tried to extort her. But she didn't, because she doesn't actually care about them. She doesn't actually respect them. She doesn't actually trust them. She just wants their approval. She had a bad experience last night, and she's thinking right now, I am friend number 3. And that's what she's thinking. I am friend number 3, and I need their approval, and I need these relationships in my life. Baby girl, you don't. You don't. And she had that whole speech where, like, I thought my job was my religion. Then I thought love is my religion. And now she's saying she doesn't need a religion, but clearly she's putting her faith in her friends, her fake friends. I hated it. Hated it. Like, the whole moment was so fake. And like, by the end, they are bonded by what? A fake friendship and a trauma and trauma bonding. Hated it. I mean, for the show, it makes sense, because the show is not about real people. The show is about these rich fake people that live in their rich fake world. But, and it makes sense that their friendship is maintained, because that's a very toxic, like codependent relationship. So it makes sense that in this criticism of this world of rich people, fake friendships would be maintained and would be rewarded, because that's what happens. But I just didn't like it. I was expecting something else. I mean, maybe my expectations are what's ruining this cluster for me, but yeah, the three friends were not it. And they were so boring in so many episodes. There were just a couple of episodes where they were interesting. So yeah, what do you think? What did you think about the three friends? Were you guys like content with their resolution? Did it make sense to you? Because I think it kind of makes sense, but also I didn't like it. But I had problems with the three friends from the beginning. The way that their relationship was being portrayed from the beginning sounded so weird to me. So yeah, I guess I didn't like them much from the beginning. And now about age gap. You guys know, if you've been here for a while, you guys know the hopes and expectations I had for them. And listen, I was aware of the dangers. I was aware of the fact that the third time is the charm. I've been saying it. I was afraid of it, but I was aware of the possibility. And in the end, I think the way they did it was well done. I was okay with the way they did it, with the way that they closed Rick's arc as being this person who will never be able to let this go, and Chelsea as being this person who will always stay by Rick, and everything that happens to him happens to her. And the way they close Guy Talk's arc of him finally like letting go of his values and just pursuing status, which I will get to. But yeah, I was so sad when I saw Chelsea dead. I was like, no, this was my girl. But okay, let's get to it. Rick wakes up in the hotel in Bangkok, and then he immediately is like, yeah, I gotta go. Like, I have closure now. I confronted the man who killed my father. I need to go and enjoy the woman who loves me and this life, this comfortable life that I have. So he leaves his friend who is in a frenzy. He leaves the women, and he just goes back to the resort. And we get, for like a day, we get a honeymoon period between these two for like a day, where she runs into his arms and they love each other, and then they have dinner, and he basically proposes to her. He doesn't, but he says he wants to spend his whole life with her. It is forever. So it's basically a proposal, and Chelsea is so happy. Like, that's the happiest moment of her life right there. And everything is going well. And then we go to the next morning, where Jim arrives with Sitala in the White Lotus resort because they want a photo with the actress, with Jacqueline. And Rick sees him, and honestly, his face was just a little bit funny, because he was like, oh no, I had closure. I was moving on, and now why is he here again? And then Jim has the audacity to tell him, yeah, I know your mother. I remember her. And I was saying this was going to happen because when Rick said his mother's name to Jim recognized it for sure. And I feel like we all had this expectation that he could be his father or something like that. And the way that idiot went to talk to Rick, and I was like, yeah, I know your mother. She was a whore. And your father, not a great guy. And I mean, I think we all knew at that point what that meant, that he was his father and he isn't a great guy. Why couldn't he just be honest, is my question. Why couldn't Jim just be honest and tell Rick, I am your father? Look. I've never even watched that movie. Why couldn't he just tell him? Why did you have to go through all of this? He could have been healed. He could have known his father. He could have bonded with his father. But he doesn't. He freaks out. He tries to go see the Indian lady. The Indian lady is with Zion and being a professional. Clearly not as professional as she should have been, because she should have realized that Rick was in crisis and should have taken priority. But whatever. Rick is sitting by the bench, waiting like a good schoolboy, and then Jim appears. And Rick knows that Jim has that goddamn gun. Rick sees the two bodyguards stepping away because they feel like everything is safe, and baby boy can't take it anymore. This is his entire life. All of the struggles he's been through are flooding through his head, and he just grabs his gun, and I didn't even think he was going to shoot. Oh, my cat is here. Give me a second. Back. I didn't think he was going to shoot, but he did. And by the way, Rick is so good with the gun. I mean, I think we all had assumed that he had some kind of criminal past, that he was some kind of assassin or gun for hire or something like that. And that was how he made his riches, which led me to think, like, was this his whole life? Like, did Rick become a criminal or a gun for hire or an assassin or whatever because the whole time he was building up to this? Did he, like, dedicate his entire freaking life to finding out the man who killed his father and getting to him? Was this it? Was this the whole moment? Like, the moment where his entire life converged in? Because how do you go from your father being like murdered to you being a murderer? He was so good with those guns. Like, he took out the security guards like this. But then he turns back and he sees Chelsea there, and I lost all my respect for Rick then, because she had said it, what happens to you happens to me. And he didn't even take care to see if she had actually gone, if she had actually left, because she was still there when he shot the guy, and she didn't run away from him either. She was with him. And when they were shooting at them, she was with him, and she died because of him. Ugh. Can you tell that I like Chelsea? And Anyway, Sitala literally tells him after he has shot Jim that he is his father. Well, and that's when we see Guy Talk come in and shoot him, and him and Chelsea get to be together forever. And you know what's really funny? What's really ironic that I loved? If you guys been here for a while, you know I pay attention to shots. When Rick is turning, like he's turned up in the water and he's looking up at the sky, and we kind of expect to get him, that he gets like a moment of peace, you know, a moment of tranquility, a moment of looking at the sky. Maybe it's like sunrise or sunset, or there's something beautiful in the sky. There's this beautiful blue sky with trees around, and he gets to die with like one last peaceful image. But no, because he looks up at the sky and it's cloudy. That was so funny, because Jim this whole time has been plagued with the monkey brain. He's been stressed out, always running around, always plotting something. And it feels like his entire life has been like that. A plot after another to get him to in the room with the man who killed his father. His whole life has been just a constant of cloudy thoughts in his mind. And then he dies and he doesn't even get one moment of peace. He dies looking up at a cloudy sky. I appreciated that very much. You see, but this is where my theory about who dies and who doesn't die come in, because these are all a bunch of rich people in a rich world, right? Like fake people. Saxon is completely hollow. He doesn't know how to do anything apart from prey on women. Locke has no idea who he is. He just exists to please everyone else. Piper thought she was a good person and she's going to follow a spiritual path. Turns out she's a spoiled brat. Tim is a fraud and is going down. His wife is completely hollow to the point that she couldn't live a life without luxury. Then we have the three friends, the actress, the Trump supporter, and the idiot who almost got scammed by a Russian guy. Who are living in this fake friendship where they all gossip behind everyone else's back, where they don't really like each other, but they just have this codependent bullshit. And we have the employees, the girl, Mook, who only cares about Guy Talk if he's like this fierce bodyguard. Guy Talk who gives up his values to please everyone else around him and get this successful status life. We have the owner of the hotel, Filthy Rich, an actress. You know, all these people are just fake, shallow shells of what human beings are supposed to be. You know, Chloe is with Greg because he has money. Greg is with Chloe because she's young and beautiful. It's all very parasitic. But then we had Rick and Chelsea, who seemed like, despite being in this rich world, seemed like they were actual real people with real emotions, with critical thinking. They were never really, like, the rich world, the yachts and all that stuff never really appealed much to them, because Chelsea was in this because she loved Rick, and only because she loved Rick. And Rick was apparently in this because he wanted to find a guy, not because he wanted to be rich, but because he needed the money to have the connections to find the guy. So it feels like the only two people who died are actually the only two real people in the show. And I think this is probably one of the reasons why Locke didn't actually die. It wasn't that his dad was incompetent enough, that he didn't know how many seeds to put in the smoothie, in the shake, but rather that even though Locke seems to be the least problematic of them all, like Piper, he still benefits from their wealth. And whatever happens to them in the future, he will still benefit from their connections and their friends and their family. And the other three people who die are the bodyguards, who are kind of out of this world, and Jim, who actually also appeared to be pretty authentic, even though he was an asshole. And then we have Belinda in her Tanya era. Belinda doesn't want to get the money initially. Her son convinces her to go and negotiates for her. She pulls that goddamn scheme where she tries to make Greg believe that she won't take blood money, only for her son to go back there and negotiate it like she doesn't want to. But if you give her this much, she will. Like, she has morals, but if you pay her 5 million, she can forget them for a little bit. Belinda. Belinda, I was not expecting this from you, girl. And then we see parallels with season 1, because you see, in season 1, Tanya was going to do the business with Belinda, and then she did not because Greg appeared in her life and her circumstances changed and she left with Greg. In this season, Belinda is considering doing this business with her boo, but then she gets 5 million, her circumstances change, and she leaves boo behind and lives with the 5 million. And I mean, she doesn't even seem that interested in doing the business anymore because she says, can't I just be rich for a little bit? Belinda is the second character that I cannot wait to see in a season 4. And I really hope that she isn't doing the business. I really hope that they kind of create this idea of this one character who comes into riches through, suspicious means and then just becomes rich like the rest of them. Because there's this idea, right, that a lot of the bullshit of this world doesn't really have to do with race or gender. Yes, most rich men are white men, but this idea that if a woman comes into money or if a black person comes into money, they will be as messed up as the rich white man. Because, I mean, we saw it with Tanya. She was a woman and she was as screwed up as the rich man. So I kind of would enjoy this idea of exploring this like change in social class and how it changes you as a person, or how it kind of makes you forget how hard it is for everyone else. Let's see. I don't even know if there's going to be a season 4. I hope so. Fit change because your girl is really warm. Guys, the rain is gone in the north of Portugal and the sun has come. Anyway, lovebirds. Well, we start the episode with Guy Talk telling Mook, I know who the robbers are. I will expose them and gain status from this. She's very happy. But then he's like, I might quit, because goddamn Valentine actually gets to him and is like, please. He begs Guy Talk not to tell on him because his poor Russian buddies who can't legally work have to steal to survive. Sure, Valentine. Sure. He gets into Guy Talk's head. Guy Talk gives up on telling on him and his friends, and when he's about to he tells Mook that he might give up the job, that maybe this isn't for him. She basically implies that she will leave him. And then Guy talks to his security guard boss, and he tells him, no, you are wrong about yourself. You're a good guard. And by the end, Guy Talk hears the shots, and I think we were all expecting this. He grabs the gun, his Chekhov gun, and he goes to where the shots were heard. And I mean, with the pressure of his girl wanting him to be a badass warrior, his boss telling him that he can, him having the gun training, and then Sitala screaming at him, kill him. Of course he shot. Of course he shot. And I mean, in my head I was thinking, Guy Talk, baby boy, you were so close. You were so close to biting off the head of that deer representing illusion. You were so close. But he didn't. He faced the tiger instead. And we get the parallel with the intro. Guy Talk in the end gets the girl, gets the job, gets the status, and it's another win for the rich people and another loss for the honest poor people. The way that the show frames social class and class struggle and class issues like this is so insane. But yeah, In the end of the show, the rich class wins once again. The three friends are closer than ever, bonded by a codependent relationship, fake relationship, and by the trauma they just experienced. Greg and Chloe get what they want, which is a third for Greg's weird-ass fantasy. The Russian guys get to keep partying and stealing, because that's the only way they can make money. Sam Rockwell, or his character's name, which I cannot remember, gets to go back to being a Buddhist and being chill, I guess. He attains homeostasis again. Guy Talk gets a job and the girl and lives happily ever after. And Belinda starts her Tanya transformation. And, well, the White Lotus delivers 2 more body bags. I still can't believe that Chelsea is dead. Like, I know this was probable, but god damn it. But anyway, guys, this is all I have for you today about the White Lotus. I was happy about most of it. I really didn't like the Friends resolution, but it was okay. I will probably still do a final video about the intro credit scenes and everything we missed and everything that was connected to the show, because there is a few things I've already thought of, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, I'll see you here in the next season, which I hope it will happen. Yeah, they already cut out stuff from this season because of the new administration at the US. I think Lori's daughter was supposed to be non-binary and they were supposed to like mention it, and then they cut it out because of the new administration. Maybe they won't be able to do it, or at least they won't be able to do it with a US production, because, I mean, in case you don't know, the US is now a dictatorship, even though no one is calling it that in the US probably, but the censorship is probably going to get worse. So I don't know if they would be able to do a White Lotus season 4 in the next like 4 or 5 years, or if he manages to block the next elections and just stay in power until he dies. Maybe never. Or maybe they'll change the production company to somewhere else, maybe the UK. I don't even know if the production company is from HBO is in the US, right? I think so. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you are in the US, I'm so sorry. Please stay safe and you'll get through this. Dictatorships always fall. So, yeah. And I'll see you here tomorrow, probably. Handmaid's Tale, definitely tomorrow. Oh my god, the way that I'm talking about a dictatorship in the US and then the new season of The Handmaid's Tale is coming out. I really hope this doesn't come to Portugal. Actually, guys, a little bit of hope for you. The far-right, fascist, right-wing political party in Portugal, one of them, the worst one, is falling right now because there's been a lot of cases of pedophiles that they were like politicians in that political party. So they are falling a little bit, but I don't think this will be the end of them. But yeah. Yeah. Portugal's a very Catholic country, so if you go for the children, they hate you. At least Catholicism does one good thing. Oh, the irony of that. Bye, guys. Stay safe.